A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 16th of September 2020. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Warren Buffett: "The rich invest in time, the poor invest in money." So he's not talking about rich people and poor people. He is talking about, if you read between the lines, then he's talking about this attitude, this mentality, right? There are people who invest their energy after marks or after money or after quantity. When you are too focused on quantity, you are not going to produce that qualitative work, right? Your actions are going to be mechanical. If you want to be more artistic, if you want to create something exceptional, then you have to invest your time, your energy after producing quality stuff, and wealth, fame, everything will follow or are byproducts of your time management. With this difference, StudyIQ team has designed a smart course. This smart course is for Civil Services Examination. It covers your pre as well as mains examination, and to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. Till 21st of September 2020, EMI offer is also available, so make the most out of it. Download our app today itself. On our table, we have 5 important articles. The first one is from Times of India. The last one is from Indian Express. And these 3 articles are from the Hindu newspaper. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel. And you can follow me on Facebook as well. Dear friends, I am genuinely disappointed with this thing. I don't see many people taking active part in the questions that I ask, and I have also noticed that students of this English version, they are not sharing this lecture with other students. So I'm not sure if you are genuinely interested in this series, because see, we are investing huge amount of our energy, right? We are keeping one slot for this series, and then of course I have to record it, and it takes a very important prime time of my day. So I'll leave it on you guys, right? If you genuinely want this series to continue, then I want you guys to support it. I'm not begging here. What I'm saying is that it belongs to all of us, right? So it's important that all stakeholder, they play their part. Think about it. With this difference, the first item that we have is associated with geopolitics. Remember a few days ago we were talking about this Moscow peace talks between S. Jaishankar and his counterpart, his Chinese counterpart to be precise. Last Monday we have talked about this thing. So if this is your first day, I invite you guys to check out Monday's lecture. If you don't go through the whole video, that's fine. Just check that portion about India and China, and you will learn so many things about, some basic things about this Moscow peace talks. And once you go through it, then I will reckon you guys to come back here so that you will understand what we are talking here. If this is your first day, then you need to check out Monday's video. Right, so for regular students, let's carry on now. See, USA is a very good friend of our country. Russia is also a very good friend of our country, but we cannot rely on these 2 countries. We cannot expect these 2 countries to do a fight for us, right? We have our problems with China, and we have to find our own solutions. A few days ago, there was this headline in Russia's official news channel that Russian-Chinese top diplomats to discuss a strategic partnership in conditions of pandemic. The relationship between Russia and China are expanding, are growing, and both countries we see Russia as a very old and good friend, time-tested friend. But this is a geopolitics. This is diplomatic world. Today, a country that is a good friend of yours can be your enemy in future. I'll give you an example of USA and India. There was a time, few years ago, let's say 20 years ago, things were not going great between India and USA. In fact, sanctions were applied on India by USA. But today, we see in statements coming from USA and Mr. President, White House, etc., that they consider India as a very important country. But that does not mean that when they wake up in the morning, the first thing that they are thinking is India. You know what I mean? India is important, but India is not that much important for USA. And same thing applies with Russia as well. So if we are thinking that we can thoroughly rely on these two countries, then we are making a big mistake. Russia is neutral when it comes to China, India or Sino-Indian border dispute. But when it comes to South China Sea, Russia is supporting China's territorial ambitions. There are a few reasons behind it. It is not given in this article, but let me throw some light on it. When it comes to USA, USA is more interested in South Asia. I beg your pardon? USA is more interested in Southeast Asia. Right, so I'm writing here more so that there are no confusions. So USA is more interested in Southeast Asian countries. So you can say in ASEAN countries. So we are talking about Association of Southeast Asian Nations. You have 10 countries here. Very quickly, you have Myanmar, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Philippines, Vietnam, Laos and Cambodia. So these are the 10 countries that are part of ASEAN. So USA is more interested in these countries compared to South Asian region, in which you have one group called SAARC, isn't it? That is South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. You have 8 countries here, you have 10 countries here, and you have 8 countries here. Again, very quickly, we have Afghanistan, we have Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Maldives. These are the 8 nations of the South Asian region. So because USA is more interested in ASEAN, this could be one reason why Russia is supporting South China. Russia is supporting China's territorial ambitions in South China Sea. So directly, indirectly, it can create troubles for USA. As far as India-Russia relationship is concerned, recently the good news that we got from Russia is that India will be part of this anti-COVID vaccine clinical trials. And a few weeks ago, Rajnath Singh visited Russia, and at that point of time, we talked about this S-400 missile system. Now, let me tell you that China is also going to get S-400 missile system from Russia. Russia is inclined or is leaning towards China because Russia is facing sanctions by USA and Western world, and Russia is a big producer of energy things like gas and oil. At present, China is energy hungry, and Russia is looking for a reliable long-term customer. So China is a very important customer of gas and oil of Russia. And China is also purchasing or inclined in purchasing some defense products as well. So I'm sure Russia will not do anything that will hurt its biggest customer or biggest client. At the same time, India is also a very big client when it comes to defense products from Russia. So Russia is keeping a fine balance here. Neutrality is the mantra that Russia has followed. Now together, Russia and China are deadly for USA because both of them are United Nations Security Council members. On one side, if we have Quad, right, if we are talking about Quad, in which we have USA, Australia, India and Japan, then Russia and China are 2 heavyweights, right? They are like 2 alpha males, you can say, alpha male tigers or lions, you can say. Very difficult to defeat. So they can jointly, of course, challenge America's global primacy. China's participation in Russia's Caucasian military drills are a matter of concern for our country because Chinese troops deployed in this LAC region, they are going to take part in, or they are also going to be part of these Caucasian military drills that are going to be conducted in Russia. So, things are not that clear or things are not that straightforward when it comes to international relations. A strong China can advance Russia's global interests more than any other country. So Russia is going to be a bit closer to China. Now, as far as USA is concerned, of course, USA is a very good friend of our country, and we are buying so many things from USA. USA is also buying things, and we are buying particularly defense products from USA. So we are going to get American material, we are going to get their latest technology, we are going to get this partnership that we have, right? USA will also share information with us, and I'm talking about intelligence information. So these are good things, these are positive things. But the only way we can defend ourselves is by economical progress, economical growth. The more money we have, the more we can spend after military gears, right? Without money, you cannot do anything, isn't it? So this is very simple. This is very, it's a matter of common sense, and we cannot rely on any other person or any other country to protect us, because what happens is that when you become a vassal state, you become a sort of sidekick of that country. When you are, let's say, if we ask USA to protect India from China, then it will protect us from China, or maybe it can. I'm not sure, but if it protects us, it's like repeating the history. Back in olden days, when this colonial powers, when they arrived in our country, what they used to do, means the kings, they used to do the same thing. They used to ask this colonial or East India company's officers to help them out with weapons and everything, and then later on they started providing protection, and then they took over. So something similar can take place. I'm not saying that someone will come here and invade our country. That's not possible in today's era, but indirectly they will control so many things. So if we want to gain that respect, if we want to display our power, then we have to stand on our own feet. We cannot even rely thoroughly on Quad. Quad is important. If we can create pressure on China, that's okay, but we have to always keep this thing in mind, that our safety net is the thing that we build for ourselves, right? Nothing else is our safety net. USA, Australia and Japan, they don't share a land boundary with China. It is only India in this Quad group that is sharing this land boundary. So we are China's next door neighbor. So for them, for a few years, this could be very hot years, or you can see this conflict-like situation, and in future they can have good relationship. But we have to stay with where we are going to be here, right, with China for a very long period of time, isn't it? We are going to be we are permanent members, geographically speaking. So it's also important for us to think about one alternative, and that is finding a way out of this whole conflict, and making sure that this conflict is not elevated to a more severe level. Okay, and again, I have already said the things that you read here, that defending our sovereignty is something that we have to do ourselves. We cannot rely on anyone else. Moving on to next item, but before that, dear friends, please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now on your screen you can see a very famous face. He is a Tamil actor, Surya, famous for, I think, Singham. I have watched, not full, but a few shots of this film, Singham. Okay, so he's very famous guy in South India particularly, and in Tamil industry. And the reason why he is in news is because he said something about this exam, NEET exam. And one judge of Madras High Court, Justice S.M. Subramaniam, is not happy at all with the statement issued by Surya. So what Surya said is, Surya said that a court that dispenses justice through video conferencing out of fear of the coronavirus is ordering students to write an exam without fear. And he is absolutely right. When I say he, I'm talking about Surya. Surya is logical, right? Court is not ready to operate physically, but court is asking students, or court is ordering students that you can go out and you can write an exam without fear. So here we see this paradox, or this pure irony, isn't it? But Justice S.M. Subramaniam is not happy with this statement, and he has wrote a letter to the Chief Justice of Madras High Court, and he has said that this statement by Surya is questioning the integrity and devotion of judges, and we need to make sure that there is a contempt of court proceeding against Surya. Now, a few weeks ago, we saw this whole episode of Prashant Bhushan contempt case, and we know it very well how Supreme Court was in a dilemma. Supreme Court was in a catch-22 situation, what to do and what not to do. If you punish Prashant Bhushan too harshly, then that is going to make him hero, and that is going to damage the image of Supreme Court forever. If you don't punish, then there are chances that people will take you lightly. So anyway, the moral of the story here, or the main thing that we have learned from Prashant Bhushan case, is that magnanimity is something that is important when it comes to judiciary. And I don't think, this is my personal opinion, right? I don't think Surya has said anything wrong. I'm not an expert in law. I'm not expert in this sort of things. But as a sort of aware citizen, right, I can say that he has said nothing wrong. This is my personal opinion. What do you think about it? Stick your answer in the comment section. I want to know your opinion on this thing. Has he said anything wrong about this whole NEET examination? Now, interestingly, 6 former judges of High Court, in a letter to Chief Justice, judges have asked the Chief Justice not to act on Justice Subramaniam's letter. So basically, these judges are also in favor of Surya. They also believe that he has said nothing wrong. Moving on to the next item, Venus in focus. Now, do you know this fact that Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system? Many of you would be wondering. I'm sure many of you would be aware about this thing as well. But if you see here, then Venus is not the closest, right? Mercury is the first one, then the second one is Venus, and the third one is Earth. So, technically or logically, if we apply our common sense, then Mercury should be the hottest. But Mercury is not the hottest. Venus is the hottest. And the main reason is atmosphere of Venus. That is one of the main reasons why we find that Venus is, Venus 471 degrees Celsius. It's a daytime temperature. Mercury is 430 degrees Celsius. I cannot say only here because it is too hot. Anyway, Venus is also known as sister planet of our Earth. Now, pay attention here. Some basic yet important thing, and this sort of things you find in prelims examinations. So there are a few things that I want you guys to revise and by heart. European Space Agency launched a mission. It is known as Venus Express. So of course, it is for Venus. Now, the most interesting thing about Venus Express is that back in 2011, this mission said that it has found, or European Space Agency said that it has found signs of ozone. Ozone is made of 3 atoms of oxygen, as we all know. And ozone is also known as, or considered as, biomaker. So if you find ozone somewhere, there are chances that you may find, I'm not saying that 100% life will be there, but there are chances that life is possible there or any other place, right? May it be Mars or Venus or Mercury, etc. But here we are talking about Venus. So remember, ozone is, signs of ozone are found on Venus, and Venus is made up ozone is made up of 3 atoms of oxygen. I'm sure you are aware about this thing. Now, one more interesting discovery, phosphine. Phosphine is made up of 1 atom of phosphorus and 3 atoms of hydrogen. Okay, and it is also a biomaker. One more interesting thing about phosphine is that phosphine is given out by some microbes during biochemical processes. So they can ask you this question in your prelims examination, that consider phosphine and consider phosphine, and or in terms of phosphine, consider the below given statements. The first statement can be that phosphine is given out by some microbes during biochemical process. Phosphine is considered as a biomaker. Phosphine was found on Venus, right, and things like that. So you know that all these three statements are correct, because if you see here, then Professor Greaves of Cardiff University back in 2017, he identified phosphine in Venus's atmosphere. So this is statement number 1, phosphine. Statement number, this is number 2, and this is biomaker thing, 3 things, right? And this is one more interesting point about phosphine, made up of phosphorus and 3 atoms of hydrogen. Keep all these things in mind, dear friends. It's very important. I feel this thing is very important, because you find this sort of topics are not big hot topics, but sometimes this sort of topics appear, and we have seen a pattern that they may ask you question, just one question, but one question is also a game changer. I'm not telling you to go through all important all things that you find in today's newspaper, right? Don't fall in that trap. Of course, I'm here. If I find something, if I sense something important, then I will emphasize it and you will know about it. So all you have to be is regular with this series. That's it. Now, another further study was conducted in Chile, that is a country, and you find this Atacama Desert. So there was this. You have this facility here, and in 2019 as well, researchers found this phosphine in this planet called Venus. Now, apart from high surface temperature and dense atmosphere, the presence of sulfuric acid in atmosphere of Venus makes it a highly corrosive environment. NASA is going to launch its mission next year. ISRO is looking forward for 2023. So let's hope that we will send something and then we will get something from Venus. We are not sure yet, but we cannot land. Landing something won't be feasible. What you can do is you can fly around, and you can deploy some drones or balloons. That's the best we can do. Parliament and its panels. Very interesting topic, very important topic. The department related parliamentary standing committees have a so-called tenure of 1 year. Pay attention here. Now, if you go through the first line, it looks like the parliamentary standing committees tenure is 1 year. But if you go through the rules and regulations or laws, then we find that it is not the parliamentary standing committee. It is the tenure of the member who is part of this parliamentary standing committee. Now, there was a speculation in media that Rajya Sabha chairman or our Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu is keen on amending the rules to give them a fixed tenure of 2 years. Them in the sense departmental or department-related standing committees. Sri Venkaiah Naidu is thinking about giving it a fixed tenure of 2 years. However, since these are joint committees of the two houses of parliament, you need green signal from Lok Sabha Speaker. Now, if we go through the rules of Lok Sabha, Rule 331D, Sub-Rule 4, and Rajya Sabha Rules 269, Sub-Rule 3, then we find that the term of office of the members of committees shall not exceed 1 year. Thus, it is the term of office of the members and not that of the committees per se that is 1 year. I hope this thing is clear to you, that it is not this parliamentary standing committee's life is of 1 year, but it is members or a person's or MP's membership is for 1 year. Now, the thing is in Rajya Sabha, every 2 years or biennial renewal takes place, isn't it? 1/3 of its members, they retire every 2 years. So this is Rajya Sabha, right? 1/3 members, they retire. And when it comes to Lok Sabha, normally every 5 years. Right? So this is 2 years, and here all retire in 5 years, after 5 or one tenure. One tenure is of 5 years. So if we think that we can keep a member for a very long period of time, then that is not possible, because here every 2 years you will find new person coming in and old one staying or leaving. So that will impact this committees as well. So we need to make changes accordingly. If we think that we can recruit everyone together or we can make members together and then we can extend, that is not possible. We have to provide this flexibility because of the way things are designed, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. So the best thing is providing flexibility. The standing committees are permanent, and there are few committees, they are very important, and this is one of the main reason why we find that few committees, few department related standing committees, when they are dealing with some serious nature topics, there is no fixed tenure for them, right? They are given term coterminous. Coterminous means there is no fix, means there is no deadline, right? You will be renewed whenever it is required. And there are few where you find that there is 1 year members tenure. So for serious topics and for serious yes, topics only, or for serious matters, what you can do is you can provide this flexibility, and you can pick up the best person. If someone has domain expertise, then make sure that that person is part of that particular committee. I hope things are clear to you. Moving on to last item of the day, call is on hold. Now this one is about telecom sector. Now dear friends, there was a time a few years ago, maybe some around 2009 and later on, there were more than 1 dozen telecom service or telecom sector telecom service providers like Hutch and Idea and whatnot. So many of them were there. Jio was not there, but when Jio came in, then we saw a big disruption. So there was a time when 13 operators were available. It was like, of course, competition, cutthroat competition, but it was not helping them, it was not helping consumers. So scholars said that it is better to have 3 or 4 effective rivals rather than having more than 1 dozen rivals. Now after that, so many consolidations took place, mergers took place, and so many of them have died as well. When I say died, I mean to say that those companies are no more. At present, we see a threat of monopolization. Monopolization may take place because Jio is the only strong contender. Vodafone Idea, VI, as well as Airtel, they are literally struggling. And there is this theory of contestable markets. A very interesting theory that, even if, let's say if you are a company, let's say if you are Jio and all other companies are gone now, so normally what you will do? You will charge maximum money. If you want services, then you have to pay this much, right? Or else go to someone else, and someone else is not there. So you have no other option. Just us, do what we say if you want this service, right? That's what we find, or that's what happens normally in a monopolistic market. But this theory of contestable approach says that, contestable market says that when you have a threat of someone else coming in, if Jio is fearful that if it will misbehave, then someone else will enter this market, then there are chances that Jio will behave properly. But at present, it looks like things are more inclined towards monopoly, because who will be ready to invest this much amount of money? Who will invest in this big infrastructure? Then you have to pay for license and spectrum charges and rules and regulations and so many other things. So if we are thinking that someone else will enter this telecom sector market, then we are wrong. They have to pay their dues as well in 10 years time. This Jio, then you have Vodafone Idea, Airtel, and these companies are not doing that great. And that is not just bad for them, that is bad for our country as well, because that will impact our digital India dream. That will delay 5G introduction, and that will also delay, if these things are not available on time, then that will leave our country a bit behind. Other countries will go ahead of us. So what we need to do is, we need to government to can get rid of some unnecessary administrative. We can just have administrative fee rather than licenses, charging huge amount of money on spectrum, rather than that providing some sort of support to telecom sector. It will be like a bailout for them. but it will eventually help our nation and its growth and development. Think about it. With this, dear friends, download the PDF and go through the news item, and I will see you soon with daily financial news analysis. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.